Hashtag segment. For that, I'd like to welcome in TD Ameritrade Network contributor Evelyn Baker. And joining us from LikeFolio.com is the co-founder Andy Swan. Guys, we have a fun conversation here talking about a company that I would guess the majority of our viewers have had some interaction with in their lifetime, especially around the computer. Evelyn, we're talking Logitech, and so it's oftentimes associated with maybe some high-end gaming equipment and the likes, but it also has very entry-level products, and there's a good chance that maybe a viewer right now who's on their desktop computer or laptop device maybe has a Logitech keyboard or mouse connected to it just right now.
Hi guys, yeah, chances are pretty high. Logitech does offer a ton of products for the work from home setup. In fact, that's why we saw them perform so well over the past year. Their product list is a catch-all for the work from home lifestyle. They offer keyboards and mice to webcams and speakers. They even have home security offerings, but it is a Swiss company with multiple brands. And like you said, Alex, it manufactures computer peripherals and software, as well as video game accessories, primarily for playing on the computer. And they do report first quarter earnings today after markets close. Zacks is calling for EPS of about 99 cents with sales of $1.19 billion. Both of those would be up about 50% year over year. And Logitech is not a stranger to beating earnings estimates. In fact, they've consistently beat EPS estimates since the third quarter of 2020. But speaking to their product list being a catch-all for work from home lifestyle, I did have this tweet for you guys today that I found. This Twitter user said that he added to his already large position in Logitech, saying that work from home helped them, but that hybrid work means keyboards and mice are both at home and at work. That means 2 devices per worker instead of 1. And I couldn't have found a better tweet to explain Logitech's positioning here. Yes, more people are returning to the office, but there are a lot of hybrid home office situations that will keep people updating their home workspaces. But then, like you mentioned at the top there, Alex, there's also video games. We talked about Logitech as a competitor to Turtle Beach a while ago, and we talked about them because Turtle Beach is known for their video game headsets, just like Logitech also offers those, and they're pretty popular as well. And good news for Logitech, video game sales are up year over year. So even facing last year's tough pandemic comps, U.S. consumer spending for video game sales was $14 billion for the second quarter, which is up 2% from last year. And that's according to data from NPD. And I have a question that's for the LikeFolio crew that stems from the second tweet that I got for you guys today that says, responding to this news about strong video game sales, they say, come on, are strong video game sales really a surprise at this time? And so, Andy, that's sort of my question for you. Are strong video game sales a surprise at this time? I mean, people are clearly still playing video games, but they are allowed to go outside now. So is that sort of a surprise to you? And does that reflect the data that you are seeing?
Well, it's not a surprise that video game sales was up. I would say it is a surprise if it is up, at least according to our data. You know, I think we're seeing PC gaming mentions down 24% year over year, but still higher than 2019. So I think last year was a really tough comp to go off of. But for Logitech overall, this is a company that we've been at LikeFolio. LikeFolio members have been bullish on from below $37. So we've really loved this company since I think it was May of 2019 for a couple of years now. But now we're starting to see some signal that a lot of what we saw in 2020, not really surprisingly, was very much pull forward demand. And we see that purchase intent line going down considerably over the last few months. And it's really shaping up to be one of those kind of classic, everybody set up things how they needed them last year and they don't need to upgrade. So even if video game sales are moving higher, video game playing really isn't. And the impetus to restructure your gaming system, to get a new webcam, to get new headphones, microphones, all of that stuff, that happened a year ago, and there's not been a huge technology leap to cause you to want to do it again. And so we do think that Logitech is up against some really, really tough comps over the next year or so, and it's causing us, to really question the value of the stock up here around 120.
So Andy, it's me, sorry. So Andy, when I look at a company like Logitech, and to add to your point, in June of this year, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley downgraded the stock, not because of the quality of the company, but on the valuation of the company and how it saw things going forward. Logitech came out with a statement that said in 2018, now this is almost 3 years ago now, 2.5% of all conference rooms had video camera effects in their conference room. That tells you that there's still some kind of growth in that area. And the hybrid work from home that doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon has pushed a lot of this demand forward. But what made me look at Logitech attractively is the fact that it's come down to some pretty significant technical levels. This level that it hit on February 16th of about $118, that was it was resistance back then, but it's right there now. And then on April 23rd, it hit $117. I guess the question is, I get what you're saying, but has the stock recovered enough? I think you may have already answered my question, because you say you still are worried about it at 120. So you think when this stock ran to 140, it was way overdone, and at 120, it's still overdone. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, you've got it right. I think this is a fantastic company, and they've performed extraordinarily well under interesting circumstances where they essentially had a flood of new business come their way because people started working from home. They started doing PC gaming. All of those things kind of pushed things in the right direction. Now that those things are not necessarily dissipating, but the initial demand to restructure what you have is already done for most people. And so the company's in a tough spot, but they delivered really well. They have 83% positive rating with LikeFolio, which is extremely high for this sector. So I think it's a really good company where I just see that the stock, when you look at consumer demand data from LikeFolio, which has been predictive in the past on this company, it is suggesting that the stock, even at 120, a little bit pulled back, probably has quite a bit more to go on the downside from here.
Andy, as we kind of wrap up this conversation, quick question here. In this kind of environment, which we've seen so many of these industries see tremendous pull forward demand and kind of different levels of leveling off and different levels of normalization. You've had areas in the home improvement space that saw tremendous pull forward demand, and yet they seem to have kind of, from what I recall, level off at pretty incredible levels still. But then on the other side, things like RV purchases and companies like Winnebago, the technology in those didn't change enough, as you said, to merit that quick upgrade cycle. And it sounds like you're putting Logitech, although it's completely different than an RV, more in that second camp. From how you've seen things play out in some of these other industries and other trends, does that help you with your conviction in kind of the level of confidence you have in making a call on the direction of the stock?
Yeah, it does. I think that you summarized it really well. I think it's, is this likely to have been a one-time purchase or a new habit? And so when you're thinking about setting up, webcams, microphones, all that kind of thing, a lot of times that's a one-time purchase to enable a habit. But the habit is the video games and buying video games. Mm-hmm. It's not buying webcams, mice, and microphones. And so I think that's the challenge that Logitech has, but hopefully on a long-term basis, this is a great company, and they will come out with that new technology cycle that gives them a boom. It's just not right now, and that's okay because consumer demand is drying up considerably at the moment.
Great summary and great setup here. Looking forward to this report after the close later on this afternoon. The co-founder of LikeFolio.com, Andy Swan. Thanks as always, and thanks to Evelyn Baker, TD Ameritrade Network contributor as well. Kev.